and working environments, that'd be awesome.
Sure. Thank you. So we're ready to kick it off?
Go for it.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday evening, our chit chat about working from home. And currently working from my daughter's bedroom, which is where I am now. So welcome and thank you. So my name is Jaslyne, and I am a human resource director for a local firm, well, actually a global firm, but locally here in Cayman. And been with the firm for over 20 years, worked in various roles, and found myself in human capital after being on the client side for a number of years, really because of my alignment to people and my passion for people. And then I've taken that one step further, and I have another passion in the health and wellness space, and that is sort of where where I really get lit up talking about essential oils and food and fitness and all the really fun stuff that is in the wellness world. So try to blend the two as well and bring wellness into the workplace, because sometimes we forget, we get really busy, and we don't focus on the fact that our personal well-being isn't just an extension of how we will work and how much, the productivity that we can bring to the workplace, but also the type of person that we bring back home and to our families and our friends.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's been a super, super long day for me, and just like emotionally. And I thought, I really want to go to bed. And I thought, what, this is so, so important. And I thought about things that you have taught me about just with essential oils. So I thought, let me get my diffuser on.
Oh, good.
If this is allowed, I have no idea. I'm just like dumping oils in and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
I have my lemon oil.
Mm-hmm.
And I have I think it's Breathe. I'm not sure if you're allowed to mix them, but I did.
So my rule is there are no two oils you can put together that will self-combust.
Wonderful,
So
lovely.
Feel free to blend away. Now, if you're really trying to do a sniff test, you pop the caps off a couple and just hold them under your nose like this, and then you go, oh yeah, okay, I can mix them, or they maybe don't blend well.
That's a good idea.
Yes, and if you well, on a regular basis, I'm hoping I'll get better at posting my diffuser blends, but I have sort of a daily diffuser blend that I throw out on Instagram. So you can follow those if you feel to be creative.
Absolutely. What I wanted to do was, and then that's one of the tips I think you've kind of taught me just about just health and wellness and trying to remember what that looks like from all sides. I think before I met you, I kind of just thought of health and wellness in like compartments. Like, okay, I'm at home, so there's certain things I have to do at home. I didn't really think about what the transition looks like going from work or from home to work, and how I can actually help kind of control my environment. And I think in particular now, because our work life and our home life right now during these interesting COVID times
is all one.
It's all one. And so one of the things that I think a lot of people have had challenges with is trying to integrate how do they work from home and they've got the kids, and how do they keep themselves kind of grounded. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you was about how do you, as an employee working from home, how do you set your desk space up? What does that look like? What are some things that we can do depending on whether we have a huge house where we have a designated room, or that we can turn into an office, or maybe we have a smaller space and we only have a certain corner of a room that we can allocate to that. And then how do we keep those spaces clean? So if we can talk about setting up for a great work day at home, what does that look like?
Sure. Okay. So let's park. I think the morning routine is super important, but let's park that one. We'll talk about the desk setup, and then we can come back to setting routines for yourself to sort of even get yourself in the right frame of mind. But from a desk setup perspective, I would say, well, yeah. And, I think it doesn't really matter on how much space you have, because ultimately, most of us are just literally sitting in front of a laptop. So that's the space you need. And then you need a couple places for some paper. But I
Yeah.
mean, right now, my husband and I are working maybe 3 feet apart, and each of our daughters are in the rooms on opposite sides of us. We're probably only 12 feet apart, all four of us, with two
You're
doors in the middle. So
you're all together?
we're pretty much all together, because
Okay.
our desk is like on this landing of the stairs and their bedrooms are on either side. And so like we're literally all there. So,
Okay.
we're having to be quite courteous of each other.
Mhm.
Um, and my husband says that I just talk too loud on the phone, apparently. So
You're
whatever.
perfect.
I said I'm used to having a door on my office where I can just talk as loud as I want. But
Uh-huh.
noted, thank you. So for desk setup, try to again just remember ergonomics, because we get the nice chairs in the office, and some of us would have standing desks, and you have your monitor raised and all of those sorts of things. And you know, for the first maybe the week that we were working from home, we thought, oh, this is temporary, and maybe you don't invest a lot of time in your setup.
Mhm.
But I think you really do need to think about what those ergonomics look like, and if you need to take a couple books off the bookshelf and prop your
Yeah.
monitor up so it's at the right height, if you
That is
right.
a great idea. All right. So finding I didn't even think about that because I'm sitting there and I kind of feel like I'm always kind of like hunched over. Whereas
Yeah.
so I could take a couple books, put them underneath my laptop and raise it up so it's more towards where I want to be, where I already feel my posture improving as I imagine it. Okay.
Right. And
Love
then
that.
if you have a chair that has adjustable arms, then you can raise those so they're sitting comfortably on your keyboard. Because if you raise your whole laptop, then you have your
Uh-huh.
keyboards up.
Yeah.
Or you get an external keyboard so that you have your keyboard at the right level, and then at least your monitor is above. I always use an external mouse with my laptop as well.
Okay.
That, from an ergonomic perspective, just feels
Better.
better for me. I like to have life around my workspace as
Yeah.
well. So a real plant, like something small, but that creates that sense of nature and energy, and it cleans the air, right?
Yeah.
You've got a diffuser, which is of course always on my desk, everywhere, on my nightside table, on my desk, in my kitchen, they're everywhere. But again, from cleansing the air, depending what you're diffusing to, you can also elevate mood, whether you need to calm down or wake up
Peppermint.
middle of the
Like that.
afternoon. That's it, middle of the afternoon, pick me up, a little bit of peppermint, maybe some citrus, um, that kind of thing, again, just to stimulate. Also, I have a calendar posted up on the wall that I just use one of those little 3M hooks, because normally I don't
Yeah.
have a calendar there, but at my workplace, I have a calendar on my desk that keeps me on track. And so visually, I just like to have my calendar. So I just took a 3M hook, popped up an old calendar. And again, just trying to make that workspace feel as much like work as possible, and not you just kind of making do with what's at home. So trying to set yourself up to know that that's your workspace.
Okay, so being very kind of deliberate and thinking about how you're going to sit down at your chair, how you're going to make sure that, and for some people they may not necessarily know what the word ergonomics means. Can you break that down so
Sure.
so anybody watching might be able to have an idea of what you're talking about and why it's important?
Right. So why it's important, because you don't want to have a hunchback. But also, just so a couple things. One, when you are sitting, when you don't want to be sitting all day long, but so when you are sitting, is having that posture where so your chin is sort of up, looking directly at the laptop, and also not extended, as though you kind of
Like
want
this,
it to
which
be
is what I do
sitting. Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time.
you want it to be sitting back over
Okay.
your chest, and having your arms, so you can't really see, but like a level arm when
Yeah.
you're wherever your
So you're not
keyboard
down
is.
low and you're not up high.
That's it. So you're not doing this and you're not doing this with your wrist. You should be sort of, somewhat
Mhm.
level.
Yeah.
And then having, that ability to have posture. But I mean, I spend half my day on phone calls right now because we can't have our face-to-face meetings.
Yeah.
And so I also make sure that I alternate sitting and standing. And so when I get onto a call and I don't necessarily need to be typing and I've got my earphones in or whatever, I'm just sort of pacing back and forth in front of my computer, because I don't have a standing desk at home. I do at work. So at least I'm, again, getting that movement. And every 20 minutes, you should be kind of standing up and sitting down and alternating. Standing all day is not any better than sitting all day, really.
Mhm.
You really do need to just keep kind of alternating your position.
I heard somewhere a long time ago that like if you're on a very super long flight, like say you're going to Europe, I know nobody's going to Europe any day soon, but
I'm dreaming of going though.
it's all over and everything's safe and there's a vaccine. So when they talk about being on long flights, they talk about getting up and moving around and stretching.
For sure.
What does that do for your body in terms of, I know some people are complete total workaholics. They will sit down at their desk and they'll just be like this all day. And then what they also seemingly tend to feel is a little bit of guilt because they are getting those other distractions, like maybe their spouse or their partner or their kids or something's happening. And so I feel almost like some people are even more anxious to sit
Mhm.
more at their desk because they feel like they're not being as productive. And I think for some people, they don't feel like they're doing as much and they're getting some sort of a guilt or an emotional reaction.
Mhm.
And what
Mhm.
would you say about why it is important to take breaks? And what do you think in general? I mean, and every company is different, but what
Yeah.
would you think in general? What would you say to those employees if they worked with you?
Yeah. So, I mean, certainly encouraging people to do what you need to do in this current environment. We recognize that you've got kids that could be two, they could be, teenagers like mine, but they're going to have different needs. It's not that they need you differently, right? And so, actually, in the last week on Monday, I'm losing track of the day, so it's Wednesday,
Yeah.
but on Monday, we kicked off a sort of a parent group. Um, and we got onto a call and I invited everybody, bring the kids so they can see each other and they can say hi. And some of them know each other outside of the office because the parents hang out and some don't, right? So it was a good opportunity to see the little ones and whatever. And I mean, we had somebody on, the brother son, and he's 11 months, and then somebody else who's got like a 6-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And there was this whole spectrum. And so the group just brainstormed some of the ideas and some of the things they could do together. So they're going to do a sing along, and there's something called cosmic yoga. And so they're going to be tapping into that. And, so they'll take a half an hour break mid morning and they'll get everybody up doing cosmic yoga together. And right, just trying to, we're in a position where we just have to blend the two. And if that means spending a little bit more time in the afternoon with the kids, and then when you tuck them into bed, you hop back on and you clear a couple emails, or to be honest, sometimes trying to sit at your desk for the sake of it is not even productive time, right? So you're better to just deal with what you need to deal with and hop back on when you have like a half an hour of uninterrupted time is
Mhm.
better than 2 hours of constantly multitasking, which um, I've I've come to learn that multitasking is actually not a good thing. And I always thought it was a really good thing because I always prided myself on being able to do 10 things at once. And I
Uh-huh.
realized it's at the sacrifice of doing any one thing really well or being present. And I'm really cognizant of trying to be present in an activity, right?
Uh-huh.
So that would be one of my other coping mechanisms right now is some mindfulness. Um, and that is something that as a network firm, we'd actually just sort of introduced in the last few weeks as well. And we all hop onto a Zoom call.
Mhm.
So, or our equivalent, I think we use something called WebEx, but either
Uh-huh.
way, like a Zoom call. And there is somebody doing a meditation, a guided meditation, a half an hour every Wednesday lunchtime or something like that, right? And there's so much really good stuff online right now that you can just find something that resonates with you and carve out the time to do it.
I think that that's fantastic. I want to go back very quickly. You said you guys recently like introduced kind of like a coffee time or a time where the kids could jump on as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think that that is amazing because I haven't heard of any companies doing this so far except for what you've just said. So I'm hoping other companies that if they have HR people listening or watching later on, that they look at how they can bring the staff together so that there can feel like there's connectivity. Because I think for a lot of people, whether they are living by themselves or they're living with their kids, having that social time, I think is really important because it reminds us that we are all in this together. And
Yeah.
it also brings that human element of, you know what, you can, and I don't mean to say that seeing somebody struggle is a good thing, but sometimes I feel like we're going through something and because nobody sees it because we're locked down at home, it can be like a relief to see, oh, my boss or my colleague has kids running around too. And it's just as fluid in their home as it is in my home. And we can feel connected in that way.
I
So I
think,
really hope
yeah,
to do that.
and I think at the end of all of this, we're going to realize a lot more about our humanity, right? And that, we could all be vulnerable showing up to work every day in like, I'll talk about morning routines, but I am not necessarily getting fully dressed or getting full makeup every day to sit in my house like I might do for work, right? And I think there's some sense of, just being real and raw with people. You hop on a Zoom call or, whatever, all day long with your colleagues, and, some of the guys show up, they haven't shaved for 3 weeks,
So it's
right? And it's just funny. And then you know what? And then you invite the kids in, because let's face it, kids love being on camera. Like, I remember when mine were a little bit younger, and they would talk to grandma, but talking to grandma really meant just making faces at themselves in the camera. They actually weren't paying attention to grandma at all. They were just making faces, right? And so they love that interaction. So this is the, half an hour, and it's like, okay, you can buy yourself some time. You can say, hey guys, you're invited to a special, like, mom and baby or dad and baby call soon. So if you give me like 10 more minutes, then it'll be your turn, right? And it's a negotiation. And then you can invite them in and they can have a big chit chat. So, and it's not grandma, right? It's like all these new people. They're like, mom or dad's work people. And it was fun for them. And it was nice to sort of meet some of the kids that you haven't really, met before or seen.
Or maybe some of the older kids, they might end up making friends, or you might end up becoming closer with your colleagues through this
Yeah.
process. Who knows, you
Yeah.
might have some play dates later on, or when they travel back down to Cayman. There's a whole, I think, host of opportunities that allow people to get more connected with these kind of sessions where you invite the kids in.
Yeah.
And I love that. In fact, I love it so much that I'm going to suggest it to our company.
Great.
If we can organize something like that, because I think it's just a good opportunity to connect with everybody. I want to get back to the desk thing in terms of when we
Sure.
talk about setting things up and we talk about making sure everything's comfortable. How important is it? It's not really a trick question, but how important is it to keep our desk areas clean? And I know a lot of people, especially in the Caribbean, and I used to be one of them until I met you, actually. If I didn't smell bleach,
So much credit.
no, because
Oh,
you,
yes.
you just knowing that I'm going to talk to you, I'm like, I've got to like get myself, it really motivates me in the best way to like be positive and make sure I put things in place. And it makes me feel more self-responsible to be like, well, if I'm not really feeling something, then what can I do to shift that mood? And you've given me different reminders in a very loving and non-judgmental way, which is why I wanted you to have this
Great.
conversation tonight. To be like, I can control my mood. Like, I don't have to be stuck in this mood. So going back to the clean desk thing, when until I met, or up until I met you, if I didn't smell bleach, I didn't think it was clean.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I believe that anymore. And
Yay.
I use you helped me get this essential oil kit. So I know that lemon can do it because I researched the lemon. And like any sort of citrus essential oil is a good cleaner. And I'm in love with, where is it? Oh my God. All right. So this Off Guard.
Yeah, the On Guard hand sanitizer.
This goes
Everywhere.
everywhere with me. That's why it's actually on my desk. I spray it as I walk out the door. I spray it before I go in anywhere. And I absolutely love it. And so can you talk to us a little bit about if people are running low on their standard cleaning supplies, or maybe they want to be open to trying something new?
Yep.
What are some ways that they can clean their desk, and should they clean their desk every day? And if they should be cleaning their desk every day, just some friendly reminders of why is that important, especially right now.
Sure. Your desk and your phone. So I'll talk you through that. But so for sure. Yeah. So there's there's big topics here, but we'll do what we can in a short period of time.
Do a
So
second session
when you clean something, and what we what we have done, and this is sort of our healthcare in a nutshell, is has swung this pendulum so far to the other side that we're just trying to bring it back to somewhere in the middle where we're sort of using more natural products. You don't need fragrance. You don't need harsh chemicals that take your breath away. When you have to wear like a mask or have to like,
Like,
quickly use the bleach and then leave the room and come back, that's not a good sign. Like that's an indicator that that is not good for you, right? Where if you use a natural cleanser in your surroundings, you have literally just reduced the toxic load in your body, right?
mhm,
So there are a number of things that you can clean with that work effectively. It's scientifically proven that they still work, and they also then don't kill everything because there's a lot of good bacteria out there. Our bodies have tons of bacteria. Our guts have good bacteria. So when you use these harsh chemicals, not only are you killing the bad bacteria, but some of the good as well. And this is why, they said to, kids, just go out and play in the dirt. Like that's the best way to build up your immune system, right? Is actually like get in touch with nature.
absolutely.
So easy cleaning. Vinegar, baking soda, citrus oils. So like the lemon, grapefruit, any of those sorts of essential oils. That's it. Like that's really all you need. We have a cleaning concentrate that I use. That's from doTERRA. So that On Guard blend.
Mhm.
It's beautiful. It costs next to nothing to make. Use a couple squirts in a bottle, fill it up with water. I always add peppermint because it's like my favorite smell ever. And my kitchen smells amazing when I'm done
Like that.
cleaning.
It,
I don't have to gasp or whatever. I don't do, and also when you're spraying that stuff and you've got small kids, you've got pets, you've got all of these things, they're also inhaling that or touching a countertop and licking their fingers and all that stuff. You don't want to be using those toxic chemicals. Okay, so if we come back down to your workspace, absolutely want to be cleaning those things. If you think of like your hands are touching all over your keyboard and your mouse all day long, right?
mhm.
When I come in from outside now, I wipe my phone down. Absolutely, because I know I've touched my phone at least once, whether I went to the grocery or where, just out for a walk and whatever. So always wiping down that, always wiping down the handles on the doors, on the handles on the fridges, all that stuff. But certainly your keyboard and your desk area, keep it clean, but doesn't have to be like bleach sterilized, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and also from a clutter perspective, so there's a lot of emotion involved in um, or there's a lot of psychology around cluttered spaces, right? And I actually like clutter gives me anxiety. I'm actually sitting at my daughter's desk right now and I'm looking around and it's making me crazy. Like I just want to tidy it up. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I can't, it's not my space. I have to like, teenagers, they go through that phase. I am really hopeful that on the back end of this teenage thing that she comes out a neat freak like me, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
Different similar stuff. I love the art behind you, by the way. I like
Yeah,
the
so it's actually, can you see what it is? That it's like it's a women's face. So see, she's kind of like laying up like this.
Oh, I see it. Oh, I see it now. Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
like going up. I would
Yeah.
not. Oh my gosh. So who did that?
No, it's just this tapestry she saw that she liked. And so,
She just picked it. Wait, your teenage daughter just saw it, liked it, and
yeah, that. And this was actually like 2 years ago, I think she was
well, she might not get the like super got to tidy up skills, but she's got a great eye for creative talent
something.
there. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. Love that.
I know.
Right. So for the desk stuff,
Yeah.
something simple like, and why is it important? And I know I've asked you this before, but I do think that this is important. Why is it important to have a good essential oil? Because there's a lot of essential oils out there. And I remember when I was younger, they would tell us to burn the essential oils. And now they're like, no, burning doesn't work. And then they would also tell us, don't ingest the oils, but now we can. And in fact, I've started, you gifted me an orange, like an orange
The wild
essential oil
orange.
from, yes, from
Yeah.
doTERRA. And I had it in my office. And so I would like put that in my water. And somebody thought I was going to get sick if I drank it. So why is it okay now to actually internalize or absorb these things as a food or as a gel, and how do you tell the difference between a good essential oil that's a good quality and something that just says, oh, it's an essential oil, but it has very little in it?
Sure. Yeah, so the sourcing and the transparency is paramount to make sure that you're getting a quality essential oil. And so I have done my research, and the doTERRA oils that I use are the only ones that I would advocate ever for using internally. And that is simply based on the testing that I know that happens, the supply chain of the company, so how they source, and also then the transparency. So I said there is a website that can tell you exactly what's in your bottle. There's a number on the bottom of the bottle. Type it into the website, it pops up, tells you what it is, where it came from, chemical constituents, the testing done. Like, you can't get anything more transparent than that. That is the only company that does that.
Okay.
And the only one that can probably pull it off confidently. And so to the extent that you buy something off the shelf, there's no regulatory body over essential oils. And so that's the challenge, is people can label it however they want without having to prove it, right? So 100% pure lavender could be 5% lavender and a whole bunch of filler or other synthetics that actually cause it to smell like lavender.
Okay.
So yes, so most people would be correct. Putting any sort of essential oil in your water could actually be harmful to your health, with
Okay.
the exception of something that is actually a therapeutic grade oil. And in my opinion, doTERRA is the only one that I can prove with transparency and quality.
Well, what I also know is you've been using it for a very, very long time, and you always look good, you always smell good, and I sit there and think, I always want to see, like, who are the people that are recommending something, and is that part of their lifestyle, or is it just
Yeah.
something that's like a fad in the moment? And having been to your house, having been to your office, and having spent social time around you, it is definitely a lifestyle for you, and you're probably one of the healthiest people I know. And since I've started putting this stuff in my water, I know that I drink more water now because it doesn't taste so boring.
It does help.
And I bought a couple of doTERRA products, and I kind of thought, well, is it really going to work? Like, I had an upset stomach, and I thought, well, maybe I'm just taking something and I feel like it's going to make me feel better. But this stuff actually works.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that there are these really cost-effective alternatives, and that these essential oils have multi-purpose, not just for cleaning, but that you can consume them. I can't say can't pronounce it, but you can. It was the article that you recently sent me, Copaiba.
Copaiba, yeah, yeah,
That one.
yeah.
So I wish I had taken that today before I went to the grocery store, because that probably would have helped calm me down a little bit.
Okay.
Because I got the little soft gels.
Yep.
But I've really enjoyed kind of experimenting and kind of slowly incorporating them in like a really meaningful way.
Yep.
So going back quickly to the cleaning of the desk. So it's important to frequently clean. We don't need to use harsh chemicals, and we don't need to be using buckets of bleach.
No.
So once you have a clean desk set up and it's comfortable, and I've got to sit up now because I'm thinking about my posture. Once we have all these things, and we start working, and then we take our regular breaks throughout the day, because those breaks are important. What are some, and I'm kind of setting you up a little bit because you told me how you take your breaks.
Yep.
I loved how you told me you took your break. Can you give us a couple of ways on how you can actually take a break that maybe doesn't involve eating? Because all of my breaks right now, where it's going to the fridge, and I'm not even hungry.
I know. And it's super tempting with like an entire house, cupboards, fridge, everything so accessible, right? Like at work, I might have a couple little snacks, like some nuts or something in my drawer, but I don't have an entire kitchen at my disposal usually, right? So it is different. Definitely a challenge, I think, for all of us, being so close to it. But I think, one of the things I said is this mindfulness thing. So today I, did that for half an hour. So I just went downstairs and laid on the floor and popped into the WebEx and did that. When we were back in the office, I used to walk for 20 minutes, just do a loop around Cayman Bay. Actually was a really great way to get outside.
They could do a
And
loop
then,
around the block, or a loop around their apartment complex, or a loop around
yep,
their house or their lot or whatever they have that's within compliance with the government. So they
yes,
should still take those little short walking breaks. Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And I mean, I love that you just getting outside, you're getting fresh air, you're getting some vitamin D from the sun, and you're resetting because that fresh air, sunshine, whatever, you come back and then sit down at your desk, you're fresh, like you're ready to go. Like that is very energizing. Same with mindfulness, same with breathing. So breathing is super effective at sort of calming your central nervous system, resetting. So you can just do simple breath exercises where you inhale, say to the count of 4, exhale to the count of 4. You can do those several times, whatever's comfortable for you. It doesn't have to be 4, it could be 5 in, 3 in, 4 out. I don't stress about that. Just know that it should be um, intentional and slow, right? So that it's deep and thoughtful, and your focus is then on your breath and then not on the thing that was stressing you out. Also, find just having like a tea, going and getting a tea, just not going to the fridge and getting snacks, but even
yeah.
just switching it up and having a different beverage. Using a peppermint rollerball on the back of your neck and your wrists is invigorating. That's certainly something that I do before a workout sort of thing, but you can do that in the mid-afternoon as a pick-me-up. So were those all the hacks that I
I,
was mentioning? I can't
I,
remember.
I loved, you said that I think you said you go and you give your daughter a hug.
Oh yeah, she comes
My
out.
favorite.
She's in between classes, and I'm trying not to like disrupt her because she's on in her classrooms too. But yeah, she'll come in, and I was like, okay, just go in, check in, and see how her school day is going, even though
Yeah.
she's 4 feet away, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you just
I think you froze up a little bit. Um, can you hear me okay, Jess? Okay, so I see you're talking. Um, hey, Jazz, are you there? Um, okay, it shows that you're still there.
we're all on it. There she is.
Hey,
We lost you for a minute or two, and I wasn't sure if it was the internet connection or we timed out.
I don't know either. I know that Zoom allows us for about 40 minutes. So
Okay, well, we're still within that.
yeah, and I wasn't
Just
sure because I said it was 30 minutes. So I have one last question, and then
sure.
I have one last favor slash request.
Okay.
So we've talked about how we can set ourselves up for success. What is it like when we're maybe at home and we're starting to experience some conflict or some resentments, whether it's with people that we're working with because we don't have that same connectivity that we would have in person at work, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe we're having stresses with people in our home that we feel like are affecting our ability to work? What are some like good tips or ideas that we can use to manage those negative experiences?
Sure. So, well, I did see this one meme that said if you're at home working beside your spouse, create a fictitious third employee that you can blame everything on.
Ooh, I like
So
this.
sometimes you just need to get creative and just
Can you
make
give
an
me an
imaginary
example?
employee that.
Can you give me an example of what, like, how you would use this fictitious third party employee or colleague?
Yes, the person that didn't put their dishes in the dishwasher all day today.
Yeah. Um, that employee's name is John, and John
Yes,
apparently left the dishes in the sink.
this is it, right? And well, or I mean, it's all of these, you always have a choice in how you react to something, right? Our reactions and our emotions are choices that we make, and you just need to remind yourself that what, we're all going to have different points of the day that are going to be stressful. And so having a little compassion for your spouse and your kids, that we're all going through something different, and then there's forgiveness when you have your minute, because you're going to have your minute um, where you're going to need a little bit of grace, right? And I think that holds true for your work colleagues as well. And everybody is doing the juggling. And so to the extent that you can have a face-to-face call with somebody, try not to hide behind email or your company chat or whatever that is. If you're
Drink
really
an entire
struggling,
bottle of wine. Is drinking a
pardon?
If you're having a really bad day, how about drinking an entire bottle of wine? What do we feel about alcohol at a time like this?
Yeah. So, I mean, I I don't strongly advocate because I'm not a big drinker. I like a glass of red wine on a Saturday night, and that's
Mhm.
pretty much the extent of it for me.
Uh-huh.
Certainly, that is a not a successful coping mechanism for most people. That does
It's
not
like a
often.
depressant as well, though, and it's like a diuretic, so it dehydrates you. And
Yeah,
that's
all of the things. There's not too much that's really good about it. Now, they do say that, a glass of wine a week is good
yeah.
for you, but I don't know how true or untrue that is. And I know too, just to be the killjoy, there's so much crap in wine. Commercially farmed wines are just as bad as commercially farmed anything, where they're adding sugars and different sorts of, all the sulfates and all those other things to the wine.
Mhm.
That whilst we say we can have, a glass of wine a week because it's good for us, a lot of the stuff they're putting into it negates the good stuff for us. So
Okay.
it's important to choose your wine wisely.
All right. So try to stay hydrated with some waters. Keep your desk clean. Try to stay positive. Have some grace. Give your kids a hug.
Yeah.
Um, and then, in terms of just signing off, I think we have like 1 or 2 minutes left. Is there anything that you?
Exercise,
Yes. Is there something that you?
movement. So not just
Yeah.
getting up from your desk, but literally like sweat at least once a day.
All right.
Like go for a walk. We're at least out loud outside right now to go for a walk. Just pick a place and go for a walk. Do some burpees for 10 minutes. That'll build a good
That sounds
sweat. Like
terrifying.
anything, and try to get your kids involved too, right? Like, so we've managed to get our kids out for a walk or a bike ride or something with us a couple times, and other times they're like, no, I've done something else for the day, that's my thing. And I'm like, okay, fine, but I'm still going for my walk, right? Like that
Mhm.
gives me some sanity, and makes me feel, it honestly just makes me feel better, my physically but also emotionally.
I completely agree. My dog and I walk on the beach every morning for about 30, 40 minutes. And it's literally the highlight of my day. And it gets me out and it kind of starts things up.
Yeah.
In terms of closing off this particular session, I really want to say thank you because I know that you do your 7 o'clock clapping to acknowledge all the amazing workers
Yes.
out there. I know you've had a full work day. I know that you do a lot of work with essential oils and trying to help people kind of make it more accessible. So, is there a great way, whether it's a technique or a tool or an exercise you could do with us to kind of close off the session?
Sure. Do we want to do a breathing
You tell us a
exercise?
great way.
Okay.
What's something we should do right now?
Okay, well, I'm going to assume that not maybe everybody has their favorite oil in front of them, and I don't because I'm sitting at my daughter's desk. Oh, but I do have this. Um, so this is actually that Breathe blend,
Okay, I have
but
breathing. Yes.
yeah, so in like a stick version. So
Uh-huh.
so when you were congested, you could put it on your nose.
Ooh, that
And
opens
since
you
we're
up.
going to do a breathing exercise, we'll just use a little bit of the breathe. So this eucalyptus and peppermint and some other beautiful oils that just help open your airways. So
Mhm.
gonna give it a little sniff, and then we'll just literally inhale for 4, exhale for 4. You can close your eyes if you want to. I prefer to.
Out
It
for
just helps me again not be distracted by everything around me. So close our eyes. So we inhale for 4. So and then exhale for 4. And I know most people know you would inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, but whatever comfortable. We don't like to make these too complicated to the point of which people don't do them because they feel complicated, right? So again, another inhale for 4 and exhale for 4. And one of the best things to release stress is just to smile, because you actually can't smile and be angry at the same time.
I love you.
So, see, it's just the happy stuff I sniff all the time, right?
Yeah. I actually feel much like I feel like I'm in a very good mood right now. I don't know if it's you or if it's the oils or a little bit of everything, but
All of the above.
like I said, it's been a very long day for me. So I feel like this was a perfect little, almost like I feel like it's like a counseling session. I love it. So people can use those breathing exercises. They can get a good quality essential oil, and just take a few moments out. I love that. That's not complicated. That's super easy.
Yeah.
Um, what just very quickly, I think we have like one more minute before it kicks us out.
Okay.
We've talked a little bit about essential oils, and I think you and I are both on the same page with how awesome doTERRA is. If anybody is watching this and wants to learn a little bit more about essential oils, can you direct them as to where they can find you or how they can learn about doTERRA?
Sure. So I am at Q Life. So Quintessential Life KY is my Facebook. Q Life KY is Instagram. And I'm in the process of building a website, which would be jaslyne.com. But for sure, Insta's probably the easiest way just to reach out. I can message you back and then join into one of our Tuesday night classes. Every Tuesday night, I go live on Facebook, and we'll
Tuesdays?
cover. Pardon?
What time on Tuesdays? Because I've been to a couple of visits.
7 p.m., 7 Cayman Time.
Okay.
And so last night was an essential oil basic class. We'll do different topics every week. And actually the videos for the last three weeks are up on my Facebook page there too. So you could watch the recordings if you missed it.
Perfect. What I can do is I'll take this video and I'll add in a few extra links with where they, the Quintessential Life for Facebook, because I think I have you on that.
Perfect.
And I'll post a couple of details about your Tuesday classes because I've been to them. But listen, thank you so much for joining my very first Zoom host.
Did amazing, Tara.
I'm just glad it's still working. So you have a really great night. And
Awesome.
I'm sure I will talk to you during the week, but thank you so much for everything, Jazz. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you. So thank you.
Absolutely.